All right, so just wanted to quickly introduce myself and kind of how this class is going to work over this summer, as well as touch on a few things in the syllabus that are extremely important that you need to know about. And if I know anything about students your ages, you don't actually ever look at or read the syllabus. So I'm going to go over those with you, and the assumption will be, if you ever have a problem, that you have either read or the syllabus or watched this video, because that's typically the first thing I'm going to ask you if you ask me a question that is answered in one of those locations. So, all right, I am Kyle Gooden. I am an instructor here in the School of Accountancy. Uh, I've got a lot of work experience in industry. That is the reason they hired me, not to do research, but simply because I have work experience in industry. And so I can speak to it from a practical standpoint. I was a financial analyst, data analyst, report developer for Mercy Health Systems here in Springfield, Missouri from 2008 to 2019. So I did all kinds of fun stuff. Did a lot of like reserve modeling. Not-for-profits get to hold their revenues in a different way than for-profit companies do, so I helped them decide how to do that. I did a lot of financial reporting. I did a lot of revenue reporting, um, reimbursement reporting, all kinds of fun stuff. I was also a staff auditor for the Public Corruption and Fraud Division for the State Auditor's Office of Missouri for a couple of years. That was an awesome job, probably one of the best jobs I've ever had. Leaving there to come here to work for Missouri State was a really tough decision for me because I hated to leave that position. But I eventually did in 2021 come to Missouri State to become a full-time instructor here. I teach several different classes. I teach this class. I teach Accounting 300, which is professionalism and accountancy. I lovingly call it Let's Get You a Job. I also teach Accounting 206, which is the honors version of this class. It mixes both the intro to financial and the intro to managerial accounting. I also teach Accounting 732, which is a graduate level governmental not-for-profit accounting class because frankly, that's where my expertise lies, is in government and not-for-profits, where I spent my whole career. I did get 2 degrees here from Missouri State. I got my Bachelor of Science in Accounting and I got my Master's of Accountancy with a certificate in fraud and forensics. I also took the courses to get the certificate in data analytics for grad school. Both very highly recommend those. I am currently working on my PhD in business administration at Oklahoma State University. So there will be times this summer where you won't be able to get a hold of me because I am in residency. Basically, I am locked in rooms for 3 or 4 days doing seminar classes. So if you think it's miserable having to spend 20 or 30 minutes an hour a day looking at this stuff, you can only imagine that being in a room for 8 hours with several other people that also think they're incredibly intelligent, how horrible that might be in some instances. So, but you'll learn a lot. I'm also a certified fraud examiner. That's important for you guys to know because the one thing I absolutely hate is cheating. I've never looked at my uh, what do you call it? Rate my professor. I don't, reading mean things about myself is not my favorite thing. So I haven't looked at it, but I would imagine that if you did, you would see that I'm kind of a jerk about the cheating thing. If I catch you cheating, you're going to be in trouble. And I have lots of ways to catch you cheating because quite frankly, that's what I did for my career was catch people cheating. So try not to cheat. My honest to God opinion is if you feel like you're going to cheat, if you think you need to cheat, you probably just need to come talk to me. You don't have to tell me you were thinking about cheating, but what that tells me is you just aren't prepared for that exam or that homework or whatever it is. And I am more than happy to sit with you on a Zoom call and talk it out. And we can figure out, hey, what's the best way for you to understand this so that you can take the test, so that you can do the homework and feel good about it. So just keep that in mind. Um, Here's my contact information. This is going to be the best way to get a hold of me, especially over the summer. So if you just go to, you can either email me there, or if you want to book an appointment with me, here it says in person or virtual. I am willing to do either. Um, Most of you will probably want to meet virtually since we're over the summer here, but if you do, for whatever reason, want to meet in person, I am happy to go to campus and meet with you guys in my office if you need to. So I am also willing to meet outside of any listed hours, but during the summer, I tend to not keep strict hours for my office hours. Typically, those are just going to be upon request. But I am willing to meet you outside of normal hours, like outside of that 5 o'clock, that time, just because I know some of you are working, some of you that may be the only time um, that you have available to meet with me. Again, there are going to be some times throughout the semester where I'm just unavailable because I'm in residency and I don't really have access to email you guys back or anything like that, which brings me to my next point. If you need to, anytime you email me, anytime you communicate with me, you also need to be including my graduate assistant, Hope Casaubon. She needs to be included in all communication because there are times where she is going to get back to you much more quickly. And quite frankly, I have Hope answer a lot of the emails that really we shouldn't have to be answering anyways. So those like, hey, when is this due kind of thing, or what's your policy on this for the exams? Because those are all things you guys can answer yourselves by looking in the syllabus or looking on the course calendar. The course calendar is kind of in two different places. You've got the course calendar that I create and I put as a file on Brightspace, and then you've also got the course calendar that kind of Brightspace creates as I import assignments and things like that. So you should be able to see everything on that calendar. Um, when you do email me, remember, always include Hope. Okay, and also include your course, your section, and the descriptive subject when you're emailing. That's just common courtesy. You've got to put enough information that we can figure out who the hell you are. Okay, believe it or not, I actually teach several sections of this class and other classes as well at the same time. So it is much, much easier and much, much quicker for us to respond to you if we don't have to go digging to figure out who you are and what class you're in. Okay, so just make sure you include that. Very often, if you don't, you just get an email back from Hope saying, hey, we don't know who you are. Please tell us who you are. Okay, so, all right, Brightspace content. You're going to have a folder called Getting Started. That has your intro video, um, any required course material stuff. You'll also have some really useful resources in there. You'll have something called Chart of Accounts, which will list out all the accounts, what type of account they are, whether they're debit, credit, normal balances, all kinds of good stuff like that that will be helpful for you. You'll also have what I call a common terms. So that will have a list of terms that we use very frequently inside of the problems, and then associated accounting terms that can help you identify what you should be doing with that particular problem. So for instance, if it says we paid an invoice, that means we paid in cash. And so that will be listed on there. Paid equals cash, right? So it has things like that. You've also got your content, so you'll have assignments, you'll have projects, you'll have all of that stuff will be listed in your course content section. I will also put what we call the chapter notes. I'm not having you guys turn these in. These are simply for your personal use. I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you use them though. What they essentially are notes that Dr. Ravenscraft and I have worked very hard to pre-write for you guys, and they have fill in the blanks, and those blanks are associated with bolded and underlined words inside of the lecture videos. So as you're watching those lecture videos, you can fill in the blanks. Now, the key part of this is that I do not test over anything that is not in the notes. Okay. So the notes are going to be an excellent way for you to study for the exam. And the easiest way to do that is just have them ready and filling them out as you are watching the lecture videos. There will also be a discussion board. This is where you can post questions for the class. These are not questions like, why do I have an F right now? Don't post things like that. Those are topics that I discuss individually with students if they have questions about. This is for course content, right? Like, I'm having trouble getting this balance sheet to balance. Has anyone else struggled with this? Other students are a good resource for you. I typically am fairly hands-off with this discussion board. I look at it. If nobody's answering questions, I will tend to answer one, but typically I let you guys try to do that on your own. Okay. Also, if we see opportunities for students popping up, things like internships, jobs, professional development, networking, that kind of thing, we'll post those as well. Those typically don't happen very often during the summer session, though, so you may not see many of those. Um, I want to make sure that you guys review the syllabus. Like I said, um, my experience with students, especially students at your level, sophomores, right? Freshmen, sophomores, you don't read the syllabus. You don't typically understand how important these are. The syllabus is basically the contract between you and I for the class, right? And so if something gets screwed up and the syllabus contradicts something that I've said, the syllabus trumps even what I've said. Okay. The syllabus isn't something I get to go in and change willy-nilly. Once I have posted that syllabus and you have read it, that's the syllabus is the law. Okay. There are a couple of things in there that may change, points, totals, due dates, stuff like that, but that just depends on how the class is running. Okay. Other things though, my exam policies, stuff like that, those are the word, right? Like, so if you see it in the syllabus, that's the law. I have to stick to the syllabus once you've read it. Again, it's kind of like a contract between the two of us, or not the two of us, but the 120 of us, or however many are in the class right now. All right, so really what I want to do is just very, very, very quickly go over some of the important parts of the syllabus. The rest of you, I'm assuming, since you've made it to the university level, can read. So I'm going to allow you to read through this on your own, okay? The big things that I want to point out from the beginning is you have to take proctored exams online. You signed up for an online class, okay? It should not be shocking to you or a surprise that you have to take your exams online here, okay? What that means is you need to have access to reliable technology, okay? That means your computer, your internet, all of that good stuff. It is your responsibility, not mine, okay, to check your email, check your Brightspace, make sure that all of your computers work with all of the software. I don't extend due dates because, oh, well, I'm using a Mac and it doesn't work very well with this, with Connect or whatever the case is. Okay, we're not going to do that. Like you should know this going into it. All right. Um, you've got to have a camera. You've got to have a microphone. You've got to have reliable internet. Okay. Without a doubt, somebody in this section is going to email me after an exam and say, my internet didn't work. Can I please get an extension on the exam? The answer will be no. I'm sorry, you can't. We do not reschedule exams in this class. Okay. So make sure you've got these things set up. Okay. Um, Due dates. This is important. I don't extend due dates. Okay. You guys have plenty of time to work on these, right? It's your responsibility to know the due dates of all the assignments. These are provided on the course calendar that is available in Brightspace. They're on the calendar that is built into Brightspace, right? So you've got access to that. You should not be emailing me or Hope asking, what is, when is this thing due? When is project one due? It's it's listed on the course calendar. Okay. You guys are adults and you should be able to do at least that much research to figure that out on your own. Okay. All right. So the next thing that you need to know is that homework assignments receive a 10% deduction for each day they are past due. That means you have up to 10 days to complete a homework assignment past the due date and still get some amount of points for it. What you should also note that is quizzes, any activities that we decide to do, and any smart books do not fall into the homework category. Okay. And as such, they do not receive extensions of any kind, particularly the smart book, because they are extra credit. All right. Extra credit means extra effort. All right. I will not provide any extensions for homework assignments past the 10-day period. Right. You guys need to be self-motivated enough to complete these on time. All right. Taking an online class in the summer is difficult. We are moving at double speed. This is typically a 16 or 17 week course that we are running in 8 weeks. That means we are doubling up on everything. You have 2 chapters a week essentially, and a test every other week. Sometimes a project thrown in there. Okay. It's a lot of work. You are going to have to motivate yourself to complete that work in a timely fashion. Okay. Let's see, grading wise, we do A, B, C, D, F. We don't do plus minus system in this class. I'm not a fan of it, so we don't do it. The bulk of your grade comes from your exams. So if you miss exams, you're going to run into problems. All right. Um, you have quizzes every week. You've got homework every week. And you've got 2 projects that you have to complete. Okay. And then there's a post assessment at the end that is worth 5 points. Right. So what you'll see is the bulk of your points are from your assessments, your exams, and then you can get some points from homework, quizzes, and projects. Okay. There are 5 exams in the class. We do them through Connect using Proctorio, which is their proctoring service. Okay. There are 4 module exams, which means we'll do chapter 1 and 2 and you'll have an exam. 3 and 4, you'll have an exam. Okay. So on and so forth. Then you have a comprehensive final exam, right, that you take at the end of the class. This is the part that everybody cares about. This is the part that I will get a ton of questions about. And again, I will tell you to refer to the syllabus if you ask me about this. I only keep the 4 highest exam scores. So your first math test is that the exams are worth 160 points each. There's 5 of them, right? So that would lead you to believe that there's 800 points worth of exams, but there's not. There's 640 points, which means only 4 of them actually count. So essentially what we do is I drop your lowest exam score. I do this for a couple of different reasons. The first reason is if you have something come up and you miss an exam, it doesn't preclude you from getting an A or a B or in the class, right? Just means, hey, that score is a 0 at the end of the semester, that one will get dropped. Okay. The other reason is that if you complete all 4 exams and you're happy with your grade before the final, then you don't have to take the final because your final becomes the 0 and it gets dropped. Okay. What I will tell you is the final can only help your grade. Okay. It cannot hurt you at the end of the semester. So if you are needing 5, 10 points to get that A, to get that B, to get that C, whatever it is you're trying to get, don't email me asking me for extra points or other opportunities. I've given you plenty. There's been a ton of extra credit throughout the semester, right? What it means is take that final. Maybe you do 10 points better than you did on exam 2. Okay. That's the thing, right? So not going to answer a ton more questions about that. Just know lowest score drops. That means you can miss an exam without it hurting you terribly. It also means that if you take all 4 exams and you're happy with your grade at the end of the semester, you don't have to take the final. Okay. There's also a practice exam. You have to complete the practice exam. If you do not complete the practice exam by the time it's due, which is, I believe, June 6th at 11:59 p.m. for this section, you cannot access any of the module exams. Okay? This is not a joke. It's going to happen, right? Some of you are not going to pay attention to this and you're going to panic because you're not going to be able to access exam 1 in week 2. And it's because you chose not to take the practice exam. Okay. If that is the case, you need to reach out to me and we'll have to figure something out. All right. Because that could lead to some really bad issues later down the line in the class. Take the practice exam. It literally will take less than 10 minutes of your time to complete it. Okay. Not going to go over any of this. You guys can read that. Calculators are important. You can use a non-programmable, non-graphing, non-cell phone, non-smartwatch calculator. Don't use an iPad. Don't use any other kind of tablet. Just use a calculator, right? All you need in this class is a 4-function calculator. Add, subtract, divide, and multiply. You don't need anything that performs any kind of function like future values or present values of cash flows. You don't need a financial calculator or anything like that. The calculator that you use for Math 134, 135, whatever college algebra is, that's perfectly acceptable as long as you can't program it, as long as you can't graph on it, all of that good stuff. All you need to do in this class is add, subtract, multiply, and divide. That's it. Okay, nothing more complex than that. So simple calculators only, please. And that is about it. You can read through the exam policies. I would recommend reading through exam policies, academic integrity policies, all of that good stuff as well. Okay, so all right, that's the syllabus. I mentioned again, course calendar. Look at the course calendar. Be prepared to know when things are due. Okay, don't email me and go on Sunday night at 10:45 or on Monday nights at 10:45, 11 o'clock and go, oh my God, I forgot the homework was due today. Sorry, we've put it out there a bunch of different places. Okay. Again, this leads to the point that, hey, this is an online asynchronous class that's happening in 8 weeks. All right. It's extremely fast for a class that is historically difficult. Right. I'll be honest, I would never advise anybody to take this class in the summer online. It's incredibly difficult. It gets very hard. Okay. What this means is you need to be motivated to start and complete coursework, to ask me questions about the content of the course when you have them, right? I'm not going to be reaching out to you and saying, hey, Sarah, do you understand this concept? There's 120 of you in this class. I can't do that, right? But what I can do is answer your emails or look at that class discussion board and answer questions there. Okay. So you're going to have to motivate to do those things. I can't do that for you. All right. So when it gets rough, and it's going to get rough starting in week 2, all right, you really, really need to be reaching out and asking for help. Okay. The required course materials, enroll and connect via Brightspace. The easiest way to do that is just to click on like your chapter 1 homework, and it'll take you to connect and you'll register there. And that's the easiest way to do that. There is additional information on Brightspace about all that if you need it. The textbook content, it's a first edition, so sometimes you may find a few inconsistencies. As they have updated it, they don't really do editions anymore. They do what they call an evergreen thing where they're just consistently updating it. There are fewer and fewer of these. If you ever do find an error in your homework, let myself or Hope or somebody else know, and we can get with Connect and figure that out. So just being honest, all right? Not everybody here is interested in accounting. Out of the 120 so of you students in the class, maybe 10 of you are actually accounting majors or think you want to be accounting majors, and that's fine. Okay. I don't need everybody to be accounting majors. What I do need is for you guys to walk out of this class having some kind of understanding of financial accounting and how it applies to everybody. Every single major in the College of Business can use financial accounting, right? And if you're ever interested and if you actually like the content of the course, you can always contact me and we can talk about that a little more. Okay. The God's honest truth is some of you are going to struggle with some of the concepts, some of the terminology. The course load is a big one, especially during the summer where you're doubling up. You're doing twice as much every week. Okay. And that's okay. Again, you just need to reach out. Okay. You all need to pass this course to get into the College of Business. Some of you may need a B. If you're an accounting student, you need a B, right? Honestly, if you're an accounting student, you should get an A in this class, okay? Some of you just need a C. Some of you can get by with a D, all right? You're going to get what you put into this course. If you put some effort into it, if you contact me and ask questions, if you engage, you're going to do much better in this course, and you will see that it will help you later on. It'll help you in other courses. Finance 380 it's going to make Finance 380 much easier if you understand this course. Okay. So just remember that you'll get what you put into it. It's going to be a struggle for some of you, but if you're using the resources that are out there for you, you're going to make it through this class. Okay. We have a pretty low fail rate for this class now, and that is because of the effort that we have put in to make sure you have the resources available to you to make sure you're as successful as you want to be. Okay. I have office hours that you can request with me. Okay. I'm invested in your success, right? I don't want you guys to fail. I don't create these things so that you guys struggle with them. I know you guys do on occasion, but that's just because the content of the course is different and it's difficult. Okay. I want you to succeed. I want each of you to be walking out of this class savvy users of financial accounting information, because my belief is that regardless of what your major is, management, marketing, finance, if you have an understanding of accounting, how it works, how it drives every business, how it operates each business, right? You put yourself one step up on the rung of the ladder over your competitors. Okay. And your competitors are all the people in this class with you right now. They're all going to be competing with you for jobs in the future for the most part, right? So I will help you. If you are willing to put in the effort, I'm willing to put in the effort. And that's the God's honest truth. You just have to reach out and ask me. Okay. Regardless of what you guys may think, regardless of what my wife thinks, I can't read minds, right? I don't know what you guys are thinking. So you have to reach out. You have to make that effort. Okay. The GAs in the School of Accountancy, if you contact like Hope, she's able to help you. And if she can't, I'm going to wonder why she's in a graduate program for accountancy if she can't answer intro to accounting questions. That's a joke. Hope's amazing. She will be able to help you. Okay. And here's the other one. This one's a dirty word for you guys. All right. And I'm going to say it and try not to get me fired for this, please. Textbook. Your textbook is incredibly helpful. Okay. It has excellent resources. I'm not even saying read through the textbook because my God, I know you're not going to, right? But every single topic, every single learning objective we have in this class has a video associated with it inside of your textbook. And they're usually 2 to 3 minutes long, sometimes even shorter than that. Okay. A lot of times they walk you through examples. There are videos walking you through, here's how you should do this program or this homework problem, right? There are all kinds of little videos, hints, tips, tricks that are inside of your textbook. There's an app called the Sharpen app that you can download that is also wonderful. It's like using Duolingo to help you kind of study for some of the accounting stuff. Okay. It's easy to use, right? So when you guys first log in to connect, on the left-hand side, you'll see there's different resources for you, including a textbook, including a media bank that has all those videos in it, a link to the Sharpen app, all additional flashcards, all kinds of stuff like that. Make sure you're using those. All right. So I have rambled long enough, but I think, 26 to 30 minutes is acceptable for an online class where you guys are going to have very little access to me in person. So please make sure that you guys are reviewing the syllabus, that you're reviewing the exam policies. For the love of God, make sure that you take that practice exam. Okay. Make sure you take that before June 6th. All right. So if you got any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thanks.